BraveMaker Show is hosted by Tony Gapperstone. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Tony Gapperstone coming at you live from Redwood City, California, from the BraveMaker studio. I love getting to do the show, and I'm so grateful that you are watching either live or on the replay or on the audio version edited a week after. I am a Caucasian man wearing a beanie today. Wink, wink, wink. More on that later. With glasses in a very colorful space that I love doing. And I'm wearing a white shirt, a diesel shirt that I just got yesterday. And it's kind of weird. And I don't know if I really like it, but that is another thing. I am hosting the show by myself these days, but once in a while, I get to bring on a guest co-host. And it's really fun to be able to do this because different people mix the conversation in different ways. And today it's all about Last Chance Charlene, our feature film that came out yesterday, February 28th. So it only felt fitting to have someone else come in and lead this conversation. And that person is a filmmaker herself and an actor from Los Angeles. Welcome, former BraveMaker podcast guest, Giovanni Espiritu. I always want to say it with an Italian, Giovanni Espiritu.
I love it. I love it. Hi, everybody. My name is Giovanni Espiritu. I am an Asian person. I do not have a beanie on. My hair is brown and curled, and I'm wearing purple today. And behind me is a pug statue and a bookcase and some lighting things, and I'm on my blue couch. Thank you so much for having me, Tony. I love talking film, and congratulations on having the movie out, and I'm excited on talking to your actors because I come at this as a fan and full of questions. 100p. Did I say that?
Oh, 100p.
100p.
Okay,
yes.
Okay, so while we bring in our special guest today, I'm going to say this is episode 183, and I'm going to go back and find out what episode you were on because I should have known that. I should have done my research. So we are so stoked to have you and excited for all your questions. And so with that, let me bring on our two other guests who happen to be actors in the film called Last Chance Charlene. We have Cameron James Matthews, who plays Dino, and Allison Ewing, who plays Charlene.
Hey, what's up?
Beanies. We did not plan this.
We totally texted.
If you're not watching, you need to know we three of us happen to have beanies on right now, and they're all we just look like triplitsies.
It totally looks like they planned it out, and I am one of the not cool people in this, but it's great because they all three were part of Last Chance Charlene, and now I get to ask questions, and people that are watching will be like, okay, that's the one, that's the fan, and the other people were the ones that were actually in it. So yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna turn it over to you, Giovanni, after Allison and Cameron James Matthews. You do your physical descriptions and where you are and all that kind of stuff. We'll start with you, Allison.
I'm Allison Ewing. I'm a white blonde woman. I'm wearing a mustard colored beanie, and I have a tan shirt on that says "Feeling My Feelings," and I'm against a boring white wall.
Yes.
My name is Cameron James Matthews, CJ for short. I am a Black Mexican male. I have curls, but the curls are sleeping right now. So we threw on the beanie. We had a DM chat. Giovanni, we got to get you in that next time. And yeah, I got the blue in the back.
Giovanni, take it away.
I want to know how this project came together. So this is like a everybody question, because I know, Tony, you're the writer director, and how did you find your actors? How do you find Allison and Cameron? They're so cute together, like, and I'm from the Bay Area, so watching your film, I was like, oh, so much nostalgia happening.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so yeah, you are a former Bay Area person, and all three of us that were in and a part of Last Chance Charlene happened to be in the Bay Area at the time. Cameron's now in LA, but I have been in the Bay Area for 25 years. I was acting for quite a long time, and like most actors, you kind of get to the place of all the no's and the closed doors, and why am I waiting around, waiting? And so I thought, I'm gonna start making films. So I started making shorts, made a ton of shorts. Then like, when am I gonna make my feature? And I had another feature that was in the works that we were raising funds for, that I was working with an EP in San Francisco in 2019. We were doing the fundraising of dinners and all that kind of stuff. And then pandemic hit, all that got demolished. And in 2020, while I was still trying to get this other $3 million budgeted movie made, doing a proof of concept with Allison, in that proof of concept, I started writing another very small micro budget feature film, thinking, well, if I can't get this other high budget, big budget film off the ground, maybe I can do a micro budget. And I was writing it for myself to star in. And I was like watching Allison going, man, she needs to be the lead of this film. And I was, I've been trying to be an ally in my life in this space, in the entertainment industry, with BraveMaker specifically. And I have recognized my privilege, although still hard to make it. My privilege needs to step aside and figure out how I can empower and employ women and historically marginalized entertainers and people of color and LGBT communities. And that's how this whole thing came. And I wrote it specifically thinking about Allison as well as Cameron for their roles. I had them in my mind because I knew both of them from Bay Area circles, which made it easier to write when you had someone in mind. I know some people don't like doing that, but I love doing it.
Allison or Cameron, like, did you go? It was written specifically for you. How do you feel about that? And like, what is your like? How did you both get into acting? Because you guys are fabulous. Like, really great performances. Like, I like, and also Tony, you too. When you popped up on the screens, I was like, yay!
Thank
you know. So yeah, please, I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Go ahead, CJ.
So I got involved with it, like I've said before in the past, like the Bay Area is just such a wonderful community. So, it's not big, but it's such a very talent-filled pool. And you kind of get to meet everybody within similar circles. Me and been way long at SF Academy. So I think I still have footage of that too, Allison.
I just
Post
want a
them,
picture that I
post
gotta
them.
send you.
Yeah, post them. We got to talk about that first, me and Alice, to make sure we're both okay with that. But I don't know how this actually came up. I just know I met Tony in similar circles, and I just love what he does for the Bay Area community and how active he is in projects and getting them done, and marketing. And like, the man does not sleep. He constantly is. He's trying to get people involved. And when he works with you, he keeps you in mind for a lot of stuff, and I love that about him. So I know he was to my team, and I jumped at the opportunity to work with these two right here, the amazing cast and crew. And yeah, I mean, I'm from Sacramento, California. Very proud of that. I did not start my acting career there. It definitely started in the Bay Area, Oakland specifically, working for Kaiser Permanente Educational Theater, where I was super green. Green is this, even more greener than this beanie. And I just hustled and took the CT and Berkeley rep. And it led to theater chances and opportunities, which after a while, that led to film opportunities as well, including Last Chance Charlene. And that's how this performed. That was such an opportunity to work with them.
Cool.
Allison, I'm gonna call you out because
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing, so I acted a million years ago in high school and a couple years into college, and I ran from it. I got like a big agent, didn't know what the heck I was doing. I had no training.
Mm.
And so I would get to like 6 and 7 callbacks for like major parts. I'd know, just based on some raw inner thing. And then I would blow it at the last callback, like inevitably, because I didn't have a process. I didn't know what I was doing. I also was very much subject to the, watch your hips, and, very much like categorized in a particular way that I really resisted. And so I ran from it, and I didn't do anything for many, many years, not to age myself too much, and then I just felt like there was something missing. I started taking classes at First Take here in the Bay Area. And then years later, the woman who runs it just brought up the idea of me putting myself out there. And I just started doing that a few years ago, maybe going on the 4th year now. And it's just sort of snowballing now. And I'm the agent and all the things. And Tony, I worked with Tony on a short film. I did a read through of this first feature that he's working on. And the script just, I'm so in love with this film, and I really hope it gets made. I think it will. And I can't wait for that. And so I worked with him on a reading for that. And then I also auditioned for a short film that they did through BraveMaker. And then he invited me to be a part of the treatment for Thorns. And then through that, then he just literally reached out and said, hey, I have this thing that I've been working on for me, and I think you should do it, and offered me the part. And I was just dumbfounded.
It's just like, yes.
Or did you have the right number? And read what he was working on already. He'd already written so much and had already done some really quick things that were already, positioned for a female lead. And I just, I connected so much with it. It was so heartfelt. I had a lot of personal connection to it, and getting to work with him, it was just sort of what you couldn't, there's no way there was a no in there. It was just a huge opportunity, and I'm so grateful. And that's how it happened.
How many days were you guys shooting this? And did you shoot during the pandemic? Like, what was the story of production?
Yeah, 13 days in June, not consecutive, which I thought was kind of, it worked for us to have a few days off in between here and there. We started without the funding. I pretty much only had like 20% of the funding when we started. I was like, most of these people were my friends, and like, we'll pay you eventually. It's gonna come. It was SAG ultra low budget, so I knew we had to put money down, to get our actors secured. And it was June of 2021. So we had major COVID protocols. If you watch all the behind the scenes, which if you go to our Instagram at BraveMaker.org, we're posting some of those things. But it's weird to watch it now because we're all fully wearing masks. I know some of us still are, and we should in some places. But it's like, wow, it feels like a totally different time when you watch those behind the scenes footage. So I wrote it in December of 2020. We did a table read in January of 2021, got some notes, and we were in production in June of 2020.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
Whirlwind.
Wow. Can you can totally say no. But can I ask what the budget was?
Please. I like transparency. We did everything through BraveMaker as a nonprofit. So I'm still paying some things. I just had to pay $1,000 for the freaking quality QC to get it out there. But guys, it's worth it. It's like $80,000 to make this film.
Wow. And how much of that was like locations that were comped or like, given?
Okay. So that's not even including all the pro bono stuff. I
know.
Okay. So I only paid $100 for locations, and that was for the cemetery scene. We didn't pay any other locations.
Wow. Because I was watching
what
that.
It would gross up. I wonder
yeah,
what
so
it
maybe we should do that. Like, how much would it cost to rent your house, Allison?
Because there is a value to what you would pay for those locations. So it is the production value of it. But his relationships, again, he had people just rallying behind him to make this happen. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Like I was like locations. Like, is that the Alameda Pier? I don't know. Like the pier scene, the graveyard scenes. Those were like beautifully like just And then my favorite scenes were actually Allison, you and Raul, and you and your mom. But also, what are your guys' favorite scenes from the movie?
So hard.
I know.
Cameron, do you have ones jumping out?
I agree. I love those scenes, especially like part of the I'm gonna speak for myself as an actor. When I'm watching myself, it is cool, but I'm also at the same time I'm like, Cameron, why did you move your eye like that? Or like, put your nose down. Like, what are you doing? So there's a part of that that always happens when I'm watching myself. I really do love the fountain scene with me and Allison just because of like what we
Oh
made
yeah,
happen
that's
in that
sweet.
moment. And I also just love watching her and Allie do their thing on the couch, her and Raul in front of the I think the cactus or the plants. Because at that point, I'm just a fan. I just get to
Mhm.
watch these amazing artists do their thing because I wasn't there for those parts, so I was watching it for the first time. So those are moments where I can just sit back and just watch some amazing art. But I do enjoy our fountain scene.
And what he's not saying about that fountain scene is that it was his generosity and Tony's generosity that allowed that to happen, because it turned out differently than it was written. It was going to be a light, happy, like where I kind of crack up at the idea that I'd had, that I'd had this experience that I won't spoil, or that I thought I had this experience. And I really struggled in getting that. And I think there was so much going on about where I thought that she was and where I felt. And then as an actor, I'm failing to do the thing as it is written. And so it was kind of spinning out, and Tony was so kind and patient. And also, CJ, they're like, we're going to get this and we're going to see what happens, and allowed the characters and the actors to work with him on that. And so we improv'd a lot of that to get it to where it was. And so CJ is just, his jumping in and just being there. He was Dino for me, right? Like that's how I always say that, like Dino for Charlene is what CJ is to me through that whole experience. And so I love that scene, because I thought when I finished it that I was crying in my car, like I didn't give him what he wanted, and he was so kind. And but just the fact that they all enabled that to happen, and something authentic and interesting and different happen, was just a very cool thing, and not something you'd expect from a lot of filmmakers perhaps. And so that generosity and that humanity of him allowing me to have my Allie moments, and Charlene to have hers, was special. Sorry, that was a long explanation, but it says a lot about these two.
What were your favorite scenes, Allison?
I love the Janae bathroom scene. I just think that's freaking hilarious. Because she, I think there's so many that I treasure. And I think, it's really hard. I mean, because I'm in the whole damn thing. And so it's like the same thing that he goes through too. It's very hard for me to take myself out of that, There's more, but I can't think of them right now.
Are there any scenes that you had particularly fun filming?
I mean, other than the water wasted, the shower scene was a blast. It was the first day of shooting. We were doing it in my bathroom. And it was just wild and fun, and hearing Tony out there going, all of his direction was just crazy, like hit the thing. And, that was a fun way to start this thing. And then all the peeing scenes, because sometimes that was real. That's the pee that was happening. And so the if you think about that, like the trust and the safety, and also the fun and the play of all of that. I'm like, oh, Allison has to pee too. So those are particularly funny. The outhouse scene. Yeah. So, and I freaking love, the Dino scene in the car, because like his whole thing of getting me into the car, I can't believe that wasn't the thing. Like that just shows so much of who Dino is as a person too. And anyway, man.
Yeah. As an audience member, like watching Dino like continually take off his shirt, and like having your character like say it and affirm, like, put your shirt back on. I was like, yes.
Most people are not saying that. The audience is like, shut up, lady. Let him do his thing.
I'm not saying, CJ, I'm like beautiful torso to look at, but just as like putting yourself into, Allison's character, just like, we don't need that right now.
Totally. It's like,
Don't get it twisted. I'm right there with you, Giovanni.
Yeah, I just gotta give you kudos, Tony, for writing that, because like just that like audience like thing there that you had is really awesome.
I know what the people want. I know what they want.
But also, I acknowledging it was really great too.
Cool, thank you. That was fun.
How was it like directing these actors? Like, what's your directing style?
Well, I'm an actor, so I feel I feel that like I never want an actor to feel rejected. I never want an actor to feel put on the spot or awkward, so I try to set a space where it's like, hey, talk to me if anything feels weird or awkward or uncomfortable. This is my first feature, but I've done a ton of shorts, and early on I recognized like I was super like, I'm going to be an auteur and telling people all these things they should do and think, and I recognized that didn't always help. So I think my style is just try to let them play. I like the word play a lot. I write things and I want my words to be said, but I'm not gonna hold them to the letter of the law. I'm not what's his name, Aaron, forget his last name. What's his name? The guy. No, the
guy that does West Wing that makes everything like you need to be like, super.
Why can't I think of his name right now?
Yeah, why am I blanking?
Yeah, so I'd like to let them play, and I try to be like quick, like, hey, seduce him or pull her up or push her away with this word. I try to make it super actable, like give them verbs and let them play. But I don't know, you all could say if I think there was times when I frustrated actors because I always want, like, if we're going to do another take, I want to be specific. And so I try to give a specific note, like not just do it again for safety or do it again because I want them to do something different. So I know that could be frustrating at times, maybe. I don't know. That's just, I like to play and I like to have fun and I like to make them feel good.
Any words from Allison or CJ about like what it was like to be directed by Tony?
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely love as an actor how Tony trusted us to find certain moments, even if that might not have been the first thought of it. There's definitely like, yeah, this needs to happen. We need to get here and here. There are moments though where like, if this feels right, search it, find it, see what that comes with. For me, most of my scenes, and I'm thankful, is with Allison. I did work with Kayla Robinson as well, who was absolutely amazing in this. And I'm just thankful for those moments in both of the scenes with them. There are moments where Tony just like, yeah, like find that moment and play more with it. And, or like, put the shirt here, try, if Dino's in this state when you first start, or helping, Allison's character, Charlene, get to this moment. I just think there was a lot of moments in this film where Tony allowed us to just have fun and figure it out. And he's definitely right when he says it. I don't feel rushed or like this has to happen right now. It's like, no, we're gonna find the moment and make sure it's truthful.
I remember that scene at the fountain, and I'll always treasure that too because I was finding my way too. And there was a moment when we had to ask all of the crew who weren't either holding the boom or holding a camera to go away so we could really just pull it between these two. And it was cool. Like I learned something in that moment, I learned a lot working with these two and seeing their process. I remember Cameron walking into you doing your warm-up routine and you had your phone and you have these things. I'm like, oh, it's just really, really cool to see different people's processes. Allison and I had multiple feedback sessions where she was asking me questions and pushing on some things. And, I changed and tweaked things because of some of her comments. So I always like to tell actors, you got to advocate for yourself. The director is going to have a vision. And if they, aren't listening to you, then they're going to miss out. And so if your director wants to get the best out of you, they should be open to hearing your ideas. So always bring your ideas to a director because he or she or they are going to, either veto it or not, but maybe it could change the course and the success of the film. And I really feel like that's what happened with this. It's cool.
And I think the stuff that we did before we shot with the script itself and really helping me find her, there was no rehearsal and it was so organic the way we just stepped in day one and I was her and it was like, oh, we're figuring this out as we go. But I think what set up a lot of trust and a lot of respect was that those ideas were shared back and forth and there was a dialogue. And as a female in the female lead that he wrote, just his openness and how well he sees through the eyes of of a female to begin with, you know, just like that inclusivity, but then also just all of the conversations we had before. We got to work some of that stuff out, and I was slowly finding her inside of that. But I mean, in every scene and every day and in that short schedule, there was so much that, you know, there was a lot going on, and he was just always really patient. We spent more time sometimes talking about a scene than me just shooting the damn scene. So like the dancing scene in the cemetery, I was literally like so worried about it. It was like something happened to me where I can dance pretty well, but like on that set, I was like, I forgot that my body could move, and I had a broken toe, and I was just so stressed out about that scene. And it was like, it wasn't choreographed, and Karen worked out, our producer worked out some simple choreography for me, but it was like, I was just in my head so much. So they had to spend like 30 minutes getting me ready. And then it's like, let's just shoot the thing. And we did it in one take. It was like, so that kind of stuff, you know, I learned a lot. So, you know, so I will take from that, I will do things a little bit differently in that way of like just trusting myself and the person more. But I feel like this was such a unique experience, and I got to learn that with a really patient and kind person. So there's definitely a lot of learning in that for me, for sure.
It like you have so many like super emotional scenes, but it's interesting to like hear that the dancing scene kind of came up as a challenge for you.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like that's super, like, you know,
That's
well,
me,
it's
right?
also like an actor thing. Like our vulnerabilities are very different, right?
Yes.
Like what we feel confident in, or like, you know, feel insecure about. CJ, were there any like particularly challenging aspects of filming that, or like anything that was like your biggest challenge on this?
Shirt coming off, because I would not eat before those scenes. I would think I was on like a water ice cube diet at that moment.
Were you really?
Definitely,
That's
yeah, man.
terrible.
Yeah, man. Those are definitely. I love all the playing with Allison, the trying to get her in the car when she's. Well, I don't want to give anything away. Well, yeah, when you know she may or may not be under the influence of something, may or may not. Who knows? Those are great. Playing with the hamster, I forgot the name of it.
Orzo, R.I.P.
Yes.
R.I.P.
Yeah, those
Orzo.
all of it. Those are great moments. It was honestly the shirt coming off thing, man, because I was like, the preparation. Did I do push-ups in the back? I don't know. Who knows? We don't know.
Oh,
That's good.
So that
I'm
is,
inspired.
so it's amazing that like look at him, and like that's the thought process that he goes through. You know, I am. You know, it's so interesting. And then Charlene gets to show all of her stuff, but does not have to do sit-ups or anything. She gets to eat whatever she wants because she's supposed to be not the ideal body type. So in that respect, it's a reversal of something to deal with, you know, in the Hollywood industry, you know.
I kind of love that. Can you guys speak more about like going from like the micro of the film to like the macro of the industry? What are the pressures that you feel like? Because CJ, I'm like very surprised that you felt the pressure to like be on a water and like a cutting diet and that thing. Because I'm like very much like, no, it's all women, you know, like all the pressure's on women. So it's like really interesting to hear that point of view as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak from a woman's point of view. I can only imagine all the things that a woman in this industry has to deal with, whether that's modeling or acting. Like it's just, I could never imagine that. I can just speak for myself where, yeah, there are definitely times where you're supposed to fit in a certain kind of role, or if you do read a script and there is a scene where, you know, whether it's you're taking your shirt off or any type of intimate scene, you can get in your head. I've dealt with like body issues and images for quite a long time, and it has helped me get to like where I am comfortable. Like the gym is one of my safe havens for sure. But it's a constant battle, and you know, and this is, you know, Tony didn't do anything wrong. Like it's perfect for the role. Like this is a Dino thing to do. This is just a CJ thing that he had to deal with in that time of like, you know, I just need to be okay with like body positivity, and it's a constant thing that I'm working with and working on. But I felt super supported in the film with Allison, with Tony, with anybody else that was there on the day. It was definitely all just a mental thing and a beautiful thing. I'm gonna stop talking in a minute. A beautiful thing that I think Allison does in this film is like it shows the mental, emotional, physical strain of being an actor, an artist in this industry while also dealing with stuff outside of the industry, like your normal everyday life, whether that's your family, whether that's, work, or all the other things you have to do with. At the same time, you might have an audition you have to get to in like an hour or two. And all the body images that come with going to an audition or whatever else you might be doing. I just love this story for that reason, and how these two just did an amazing job of writing it and then acting upon it. Okay, I'm done.
you don't have to apologize for your wise words, Tony. I was just wondering, like, was that intentional to like flip the pressures, like kind of like of men and women in the industry in that way?
It's cool because I am working on a sequel. Again, I keep saying that nobody asked for, but I am working on another feature that is going to focus on Dino. It's called Eyes on Dino. And we're going to deal with a little bit more. We're going to get behind his story a little bit and talk more about the realities of being a man in the entertainment industry who also wants to have a relationship and become a stepfather because Ayla has a baby, all that kind of stuff. But when I was writing Last Chance Charlene, I specifically wrote the scene because it's in the first act where it was called Last Chance Charlie, because I went on one of those go-sees and I don't take my shirt off a lot, in front of cameras because I don't have six packs, and I had somebody like quote or call out my love handles, and that was in there because of my real experience. So when I was putting it for Charlene, I was like, I know women deal with this too, so I'm gonna put that out there, and I left it in for that reason. So yeah, I have a huge soft spot for this industry because of all the rejection we get, but also because of the body issues. And I think they're extremely difficult for all people, especially women, but men too. And if we can talk about it a little bit more, maybe that'll help,
Yeah. What was your writing process like when you wrote this? I know it kind of came from like you weren't getting this project made, or like that's delayed, then you were like, well, then let me write something a little bit, something that's doable, like right now doable. Like why, like you were very, like you covered so many different themes in this movie. And I'm just like,
it could have been a series. I think it would have been such a great series because of all the stuff that there is to unpack.
Yeah,
right?
There's so many things to unpack in this, and I was just like, wow, I want to know more about this. But what was your writing process?
I wrote it in December and January, December 2020 and January 2021. So I had a lot of, it was, the work, there wasn't a lot of work happening at that time because it was kind of holiday season. And I just remember sitting at my dining room table, carding it. I'm a huge, like, in fact, if you look to my left, it's all the Dino cards right here to my left on a bulletin board. I card and color code and do all that kind of stuff. And, I've been like really trying to absorb all of the screenwriting podcasts and screenwriting books and learning all the different things about structure. We got a recent review from a guy who he liked it. He called it an unusual film that blends comedy and dramedy, but he said the structure, he said the structure isn't a typical 3-act structure, and he liked it. I was like, yeah, I think I'm just trying to tell a story, and I add all these different things in. I did have Jeff Lieber, who co-created Lost, tell me, yeah, you probably could have trimmed some of those themes and those things out of there. I did. I was processing all this stuff myself. I was processing my grandmother's suicide. I was processing my own acting to screenwriting journey. I was processing pandemic stuff. I was processing all the racial injustice that was happening in the world at the time. So yeah, all that was in there because that was really what I knew and the questions I was dealing with at the time. So it was fun. I'm super proud of it. And by the way, if anybody wants to get the script, it's on Amazon. You can order a published bound copy of the script, of the shooting script on Amazon. Just Google Last Chance Charlene film script and you'll find it. I did want to say, Giovanni, I feel, convicted and compelled. There was so many great things about this. But like as Allison alluded, Allison had a broken toe while this was happening. We were in COVID. It was a very tight schedule. And we all know film sets can be stressful. There's a couple people I'm not in a relationship with anymore because they felt burned out in this process. One of the things that, I tried really hard to pay every single person, not a living wage, something that was mandated by the union. There were people who said, don't pay me. I want to volunteer. It was so amazing. But there were 2 people specifically that left feeling like they were taken advantage of or not appreciated. We had 13 days. Most of them were 10 to 12 hour days, but there were 2 that were 14 or 16 hour days, but they weren't consecutive. So I don't want to make excuses, but it's hard to make an indie film. You know, again, I didn't have the money starting the film. I got most of the money in the middle of it, but you're still juggling a ton of things. I didn't have an AD. I scheduled the whole film myself. Hold up. Until day 1, when Felipe Barandiran, who flew himself from Florida because he read the script from another friend of mine, volunteered to be a PA for the whole time, finding his own place to live. Yeah, check this out. On day 1, he noticed there was no AD, and he went to our producer, Jessica, and said, could I try my hand at being an AD? And Jessica came to me and said, what do you think about Felipe doing? I was like, yeah, let's talk about this. I don't have an AD. And then he, starting from day 3 till day 13, was our assistant director. So this was like amazing, but also really hard.
I feel like people don't understand how difficult it is to make a film and an indie film, and it's like just a miracle getting it made, you know? And like Allison, like I'm hearing like you volunteered your house for this. That is like, you know, all of the locations, like people, like a community really had to come together to make this work. And like 10-12 hour days are normal in, you know, film TV world. And like if people don't know that, then yeah, they can feel like, oh, what am I doing? But it's kind of
and the camaraderie and the support and like this set is not like a normal set. I've been on a lot of different types of sets, and this is very different in the sense of like there is special attention being paid to everyone feeling very included and very a part of, and there's daily affirmation, and there's just a lot of humanity that is just not a normal part of like business as we go. And so inside of all of those constraints, there was carved out time to take care of people in a particular way as well. And you know, and I was in every single scene. There was hardly anyone else that was in every single scene, but all of the crew and a lot of the people had to be there for all of the time. And so that's also just you know, it is what it is in that respect, but can be also really hard too from that. But anyway, I just wanted to call out that it's not, he doesn't do things in a normal way. It's a very, kind of familial and community-based thing that he puts together.
Well, for everything that BraveMaker does, I feel like your intention, Tony, behind it is pretty stellar and has a lot of integrity to it. So I would assume that your sets would be that intentional as well.
100p.
Speaking of 100p, what are your what are your like catchphrases, favorite catchphrases from the script? Because like I kept like laughing at like certain things, and I was like, this should be a thing. This needs to be a thing.
I do bark on occasion, like Dino. Like I do that. Like if I'm caught, I will do that, and people are like, what the fuck? And then I say 100p, and I went in going, oh my God, people say that? I felt so old when I heard this term, and I thought he made it up. And it's like, oh no, people actually say that. So I felt really out of touch. I say it, even though I don't even mean to. I say it a lot, and so does my dad.
That's awesome.
So that happened.
I have had family members and friends who have seen this. Won't let it go. Tony, this is your doing. I'd never heard of the phrase before we started this, and I have family who will come up to me and be like, "Oh yeah, 100p," and I'm just like, "Yeah, that's a part of my life now." It's so that's definitely that would be the catchphrase for me.
I think I said that to Tony before you guys came on. Like that's definitely
you did say 100p, but that's fine. Like whatever you want to do.
That was so fun. And I don't know if you know the show called Party Down. It just came back for like a reboot, kind of 3rd season, but it's all about actors who are caterers in LA. And one of the guys quit acting, but he was famous for a commercial that was like, are we having fun yet? And so every time someone sees him, they're saying that catchphrase. He's like, yeah, I got it. And so I'm sorry, Cameron, if that happens to be your legacy for some time, but sorry, not sorry, I hope.
I accept it.
Love it.
what's next? What's going on? Like what are you guys gonna do? Like what are your next projects, or what are you guys doing?
I have a film that I shot in I don't even know, that's in post and going to be submitted to film festivals and is getting shopped also at the same time right now. So I'm excited for that to come out. And then I'm just doing the auditioning game. And then I will be a part of the future of Eyes on Dino in whatever form that takes. And then there's a short, well, Tony can tell you, there's a couple things that Tony's doing that I get to hop along on, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of filming right now. This weekend we finish up one. I don't know what I can or cannot say. I'll just say that it's called Gift of Eli, with an amazing team, Lamont Lamar, who actually worked with Karen Southall, who was just such a wonderful part of BraveMaker team. She does so many things. She was just a beautiful person to have on set, and she took care of us in so many different ways. So she was a part of that. She worked with Lamont before, and it's a very beautiful film. If you follow me, you'll definitely see me post about that in the future.
Exciting.
And yeah, anything that Tony needs from me, I am here for. Allison as well. I love working with those two.
Come on, executive producers, fund this next feature film. So yeah, Eyes on Dino is being written, and I told them on another press thing we did recently that if we don't get the funding for the feature, we'll make it a short this summer as a proof of concept or something, because I think it's a super special story that will be fun to see Cameron and Allison and others all come back and play. But I just did a short with Rex Wheeler, who's a drag performer from RuPaul's season 14, also known as Lady Camden. We just shot that a couple weeks ago, so that's in post, and we're going to debut it the 1st of June for Redwood City's Pride Day, which is really exciting. And then I'm filming another short with Susan Chung, who was in Last Chance Charlene as the assistant, Trisha the assistant. So, and Wu Huang from Survivor. I guess I have a thing for reality show actor kind of people. So I worked with Lady Camden, the reality show, and now Wu from Survivor. We're gonna shoot that in April, and it's all about a couple dealing with infertility. It's called The Bright Side of Being Barren. So, while I wait to make the features, just keep cranking out some shorts because they're fun. And I like, you could do something fun in a week or a day or two, and have something that feels satisfying for everybody involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we at 440 for our Brave Faves?
Yes, Giovanni Espiritu has been so amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you so
questions.
much for talking to us about Last Chance Charlene. And I'm going to encourage you all to go order it. It's all VOD right now. So just type in Last Chance Charlene. It's going to be on Amazon and Apple TV and iTunes. It's on Vudu and Xbox. I don't know how you watch something on Xbox, but it's on Xbox, and it's on all these other wild and different VOD platforms. So make it happen, and
it's a really reasonable $3.99, or even it's only $12.99 to buy, right?
Buy it.
Please
Buy it.
Own
it.
Buy it so you can go back to him taking off his shirt 17 times if you want. He works so hard.
In this movie, you got to buy it so you can keep watching her. Learn her choreography. Put it on TikTok. Learn it and put it on TikTok.
Oh, that was so rude.
The Last
He knew
Chance,
exactly where to hurt me.
the broken toe Last Chance Charlene TikTok dance. I did not see that one coming.
Do it, y'all.
That is so
love
great.
You so much.
Okay, and if you're watching live, I'm going to encourage you to go and watch or listen to episode 162, which was when Giovanni had her first appearance on the BraveMaker show and talked all about her current feature film and all the great things that she's doing in LA. So follow Giovanni. Giovanni, where can people find you on the Instagrammies?
On the Instagram at GeoSpirit, and then the number 2 is on the Instagram.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so don't go away, because now it is time for our Brave Faves.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
All right, I will kick us off. My Brave Fave is this short film that is made by one of our very own. Right now, it is on PBS, and it is called Quilted Education. It is by Kayla Robinson, who happens to also be in Last Chance Charlene as Ayla, as the pregnant Ayla. So if you go to PBS, we'll also put this out on all the socials and stuff. If you're watching live or on the replay, it is going to be in the chat right now. But we just screened it last night, and it was super inspiring. It's called Quilted Education. It's about an amazing woman named Karen Robinson, who also happens to be Kayla's mom, who taught Black history through quilting when her school in Texas refused to teach it. So really, really cool. Check it out. It's on PBS streaming for free. Check it out. Quilted Education. That's my Brave Fave for the week. Giovanni, what do you got?
It's so good.
My Brave Fave, I have to say the Everything Everywhere All at Once, SAG wins and their speeches. So you can look them up, but so thankful for that. And also if I can do a shout out for Dolly DeLeon for Triangle of Sadness and all of her wins. And also that movie is amazing as well. So yeah, those are my Brave Faves.
I want everything to win, and I call it. It's gonna win. Do we all believe it's gonna win Best Picture? I think so.
It has to.
I never can guess that, but I think it would be great.
Cameron, what you got?
So I'm a big nerd. I think a lot of people know that. So I love games. One of my favorite games I ever played was The Last of Us. Played both of them. One of the best endings to a game, like emotional heartstrings that I played, and I fell in love with it. And HBO very rarely misses, and I've definitely been hooked on The Last of Us. So if you are able to watch that, they do a great job of like taking an actual scene in the game and like just melding it into the show, and it's just so beautifully done. The last episode was great. So yeah, that's mine.
Oh,
beautiful.
So good.
Allison.
I am going to point you to You're Going to Die, YG2D.com. It is this amazing nonprofit that brings everyone into the conversation creatively about death and dying. There's live events, there's podcasts, there's they have one in March 9th at the Lost Church in San Francisco. They're finally back live. And they also do nonprofit hospice work and music for the death and dying. And the podcast is incredible. And if you just go to YG2D.com, it'll take you to all those places. Ned Buskirk runs that and is it brings levity and creativity into this really important conversation.
I've heard of Ned through you and seen his work and all the things that they're doing. We need to get Ned on the podcast. I think it's a really creative, brave thing that he's doing.
You will absolutely. That would be an amazing thing. And if you can go on March 9th, you should. I'm literally carving the day out in stone.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, all three of you. Do not go away. I'd love to take a photo with you as we end, but let me say thank you to all of you who watch and who donate. We now are up to 30 people who give every month to help us do this work. We flew up our two filmmakers from Los Angeles last night and put them up in a hotel. I took them out to lunch. We were able to just treat them well. And we do these types of events only because we get sponsors who help us do it. So thank you to the 30 people who give every month. If you want to become a monthly giver, I had a person just join at $3 a month. It's a cup of coffee, right? Text the word BraveMaker to 44321. 44321. Just text it. Text the word BraveMaker, and you'll get a link, and you can become a monthly donor, and that'll help us do these things, help us make movies. All the extra money I get, I put into the movies that we're trying to make, and you can help us do that. I want to say thank you to Amy Cohen. Amy Cohen is our live show producer. She's been doing it for a year. Happy anniversary, Amy Cohen, for doing this for one whole year, communicating with our guests, getting all the streams and links out to them. Our intern, Jessica Cohen, will cut up little snippets from our episode today and put it out on the socials. She's from Austin, Texas. Thank you. Carrie Alley, our social media manager, who gets all the visuals made for us. Thank you, Carrie, from Grand Rapids, Michigan. The team is big. It's great. And Barnell Amos, who then will edit this audio version, put it on all the podcast apps. So if you are listening to this right now as you're running or jogging or washing dishes, can you rate, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff? Find us on BraveMaker.org on YouTube. It really helps us do this work. And hopefully we'll get to have you back next week when we have a casting director from Los Angeles, award-winning John Frank Levy, casting director, is going to be with us. Do you know John?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Cool.
He's
gonna be with us.
fantastic.
Cool.
Trivia, he cast me in my very first role on ER.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, I have his book right here.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes, I'm in the book right now.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a mover and a shaker, y'all. Do not miss
That's awesome.
John's conversation next week, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. You all, I have so much love for you all. Thank you for being here. Giovanni, thanks for the really great questions. And come back again. I'm just going to let you tell me when you're free and you get to come back.
Okay.
Co-host
really
this
fun.
show. Thank you.
Can we just hang out? Because you're fabulous.
Can you?
Yeah,
when I come up to the Bay Area.
And hey, I don't lie. I'm upfront about this. I do this show because I want to learn and help other people learn, but I'm doing this show because it's like I want to hang out with cool people and I want to collaborate. So every person that's been on the show, I'm thinking, how can we collaborate? How can we make a film? So keep thinking it. It'll happen someday. We'll find a way to all work together again. Okay? Cool. I will see you all soon. Please watch Last Chance Charlene and see these amazing people. And if you do watch it, take a screenshot on whatever you're watching it on. I'm not too picky, but just don't watch it on your watch. Can you watch things on your watch these days? I think maybe you can. I don't know.
No,
watch
my
it.
hips will look really big in that one scene.
Take a photo. Take a selfie with your shirt on with Cameron's shirt off. Okay? And tag us. Tag us.
Oh, no.
Send the love. And help us make our next movies. Thank you all. Don't go away because I need a photo with you. Everybody else, brave stories change the world, and you are the story. We are the story. Bye.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate.